So we're gonna,
The planning commission, I guess this is a work session for Thursday, March 6th, 2025, starting at 6:00 p.m. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, can I get a roll call, please? Sure.
Charlie Higgins here. Carl Granzo present.
Sarah Coates present.
Randy Thomas present.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody have anything that they want to change to the agenda or put on the future agenda? Yeah. No.
This is, I know we can add, we would add to the.
We'll change this agenda, but I think you can also put stuff out for the next time as well. I think that's kind of how we've been doing it, just,
Yep.
We never get to be changing.
Yeah.
Anybody, nothing? Okay. So would we like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented tonight?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented tonight.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that was Charlene. Can you say your name when you do it?
Oh,
Thank you.
Carl second.
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Carl, aye.
Thank you, Carl. Anybody opposed? No? Okay, so we passed the agenda. Okay, so this is a first for a long time, guys. We have a citizen comment. Yay.
I forget the podium.
If you want to, or you can stand in front of us, it's, you know, it's super loud in here, so. Okay, state your name and
Does he get the microphone?
I'll get.
want the microphone? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't, yeah.
Okay, state your name and where you're from.
My name is Jim Hill. I town, Plain Hanger, airport, and property from the west side on Sterling.
Thank you.
Reason I was here is, I know everybody, the scuttle is, we had the homeless camp out there by the airport, plus I'm on the airport, I'm an airport member commission. But everybody was calling me too, you know, and my son actually has a home in town as well. And, but I guess, you know, Dennis and everybody else kind of got together and kind of cleared that situation up for now. And then they put the temporary fencing up. And I was just curious as to what the permanent fix would be, which would probably be the fence moved out to where it probably should have been to begin with. And I did actually talk with West Coast Fence and kind of took it upon myself just for the heck of it, see what it would cost to get, I got a bid on it and I did turn it into the city yesterday. What it would cost to, not necessarily, they said it would cost just about as much, if not more, to take the existing fence down and move it, than to just put a new fence. They've reused the gate, slide gate. So, and then actually have it to where it comes back in, so if you're driving in, you can get off the road, like a normal gate would be. And then you can get out without having your car out in the street and slide the gate in.
Because I do believe we're renting that temporary fence.
we are renting
Because
for,
I've recently been talking to the forestry department because they're looking for something kind of similar to do at the cemetery.
Yes.
And I believe we paid like 110 a month or
yeah,
something for that temporary fence. I think it'd be more economic to get a permanent solution up, but I think that would be something that's gonna have to go to the council because they're the ones that approved it.
yeah, I think that Jim said he's also gonna
Yeah.
talk to the council. He
Yeah.
just wanted to, we,
Since you guys are the planners,
Yeah,
plan ahead, you know.
no, I get it, because I have a pet project going on right now, and that's, I'm working with Dennis from the city, and Jeremy at the fire department, and the forestry department, because we're trying to brainstorm ways to barricade off the cemetery that doesn't involve fencing low-cost solutions. Yeah, we still want people to go in there, but we don't want them to like permanently park and set camps.
Like the boulders.
Yeah, we're thinking boulders, eco blocks with chains that people can have keys to, stuff like that. So I would say that those are probably way more economic than heads.
Yeah, for the cemetery, but for their, being that it's considered. an
Yeah.
airport, you have to have some, actually have stipulations through the Oregon Department of Aviation and FFA.
Because it's state, right?
Yeah, all airports are technically supposed to be fenced and gated, and actually when people go in and out, they're supposed to actually close the gate behind them.
It'd be nice if we could somehow do like a sliding roll gate, like what I have at my,
Yeah, that is a slide gate that will be in there, and it'll be, like they did before, prepped for electric opener in the future.
that'd be really nice.
And, my hangar is the first one there, which you come in, and I actually have the only electricity there. And the meter is out by the road, right by the fence line that would be proposed to go in. And, I'd be willing to, tap into that if we ever do a motor. That way we have electricity there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did get the bid, and I have a business, and we do a lot of, over in the Medford area, we do a lot of stuff with the counties when they can't afford stuff, and, in the way of overhead doors.
I believe I've talked to you a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you do awesome doors.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any land use problems with this.
Makes me sad though, 'cause it's like I like going in the parking.
Yeah, but we also need to make sure it stays safe, and this is the concern I brought up when I was brought up with the temporary permanent parking situation that we're trying to come up with, and I didn't think the airport was I mean, it's a good location, but it's not an ideal location, and my basis was the fact that you guys do pay a hangar rental fee, and that there's all these protections on it because it's an airport. But I don't think there's a land restriction that says you can't, is there for the airport?
I don't know what the regulations on the airport is, but I understood that area was belonged to the airport, that parking area.
Yeah,
And suppose, for some reason, I would believe that was stipulated when the airport was given to the city.
by the, I can't think of.
Oh,
Right,
it could have been, yeah. the Department
Well,
of-
there's a family too.
There's a family a long time ago that donated the land, the Jacobsons, I believe.
Actually, I think it's, Marty and Sarah's.
It is now, yeah, yeah, but it was all donated, and there's a bunch of stuff, there's secret hidden wills that it's complicated
Yeah.
more. But I don't think that there's a land use problem, so I think your only step would be, right, would be to go to council.
Yeah, I mean, what part of that airport are you physically renting? Just your hangar?
Just the hangar, and then there's a certain amount of square footage around, around it.
How much, and you have that right now?
Yes, yes.
So the parking lot basically isn't in your,
No, it is not.
so theoretically, it could still be used as a overnight stop. Theoretically, right?
Well, being that
Is
it's
it
an
because
airport.
if
yeah,
there's more of a personal concern, or is there really a legal concern?
I would say it'd be more of a legal concern, not a personal, because of. I was fretting the whole time when there was people in there that mine's the first hangar, and it's not. Fence, when there was a tree that went down behind my hangar, almost hit the hangar. It's mowed down basically. Somebody could walk right in there, and I already had a break-in, and we've had several of them, not just mine, but other hangars.
I think even no matter what fence, if they want to get in, they're gonna climb something.
Sure.
And do it. I think turning that space into just a white zone and not being very useful seems to be a waste of time, energy and money.
But it could still be used.
But
If
could it be
you
used for
left the
anything?
gate open during the daylight hours, but you still have to close the gate somewhere. That people aren't allowed to be on the airport property. That's FAA.
So the airport property though is on the other side of the fence where you have right now.
Technically,
there's a fence.
technically it is where the parking grade is too. That's part of all the airport.
So the airport, the parking spot is open for anybody who wants to drive, park in, right? I want to park in there and have
You
lunch.
can now, yes, because there's nothing, well, right now you can't. It's off. Gates off.
And that's because of,
Of the homeless issue.
and the homeless issue at the time was they were actually camping there full time.
Camping, defecating, making a mess, and you guys had to pay, the city had to pay to clean it up. Yeah, it was, they left piles of trash. Dennis had to get a roll off in there and. You know, I'm just seeing, trying to prevent something in the future that you can legally. Block that off, and I'm willing to, as a citizen. Pay for the fencing, so it doesn't cost the city.
Which I think the council would like that.
The issue is then who controls the fencing coming in and out? Is it open during the day and then locked during night?
The
So-
airport's supposed to be secured, whether we leave the existing gate and put a new gate in.
So I couldn't come in there. I couldn't drive in there once the gate's up.
Right now you can't, yeah.
But
Right now it's blocked off.
I should be able to though.
That, you know, as far as legally, I don't see a problem if you're, like pilot, you know, we have.
The only pilot can go inside there.
Well, no, they've got the, technically, when somebody flies in, they can come and go as well.
So they can park into their area where the fence is right now, other than the new fence you put up, which is temporarily to hold out the unsheltered.
Yeah.
So this issue that we have before us and the state mandates that each city has some place that is appropriated for a temporary time from, say, 6 in the evening or 8 in the evening till 6 in the morning, and they gotta be out of there. They can't, be in there, they have to.
Have you seen that successful? I have.
No, unfortunately, though, we have to come.
I think there is some that are successful. I think some of them we tend to be narrow-minded based on the fact of the things that we personally have interest in. No one wants to have something in their area that is contrary to what they feel comfortable with. And so you're gonna come up with some wonderful reasons why not. But are the real wonderful reasons why not ethical, legal, and are they applicable to what the needs are? And how can they be, first, how they can be taken care of? 2, who's gonna take care of them? And then the cost to either maintain it or not. And again, legal, insurance on how that would be.
Right.
So basically, the only, the airport is there for how many people are on the airport? How many airplane people are there?
I know we
20,
did
30?
this before, you've been at some meetings, but we have, I believe there's 6 hangars.
Is there one being built or was built that we allowed on one of the sides, had egress and ingress adjusted, they put a hanger there?
There's 2 of those.
One just came in just recently.
There's one that actually I built,
Yes,
on 8th Street.
Okay.
My son bought the home from me after I finished it.
okay.
And then Curtis did one on the other side of the airport. And then actually, this is probably not nothing to do with this part, but, that property I own on Sarah Lane, that's what I'm proposing to. I turned in my, building permit, my building plans and engineering to build a hangar home on the other side on Sarah Lane.
So on Sarah Lee, you're on the airport side on Sarah Lee.
Yes.
Yeah, and if I remember right, he's been trying to get something built over there for
Yeah, you guys did the excavation work. You and John.
Marty, yeah, he's been trying for a couple of years to be able to go through all the hoops that it requires for him to be able to build it. Just because I think it's wetland.
There's another hangar way down on the other end.
Yeah, that's Curtis.
That's
Yeah,
for-
I remember him building that.
yeah. That one,
The one on the end of Sherwood.
yes.
Yeah, it's attached to his house.
But it did have when one gentleman came in and we permitted it apparently for him to build a hangar right behind his house. Is that you? Is that his house?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. So is that on property of the or is it on your own property?
Come on, own property.
I've seen people fly in and park that didn't have it.
Yeah, yeah.
I have another question for your fence idea, which, if you do something that requires like a code in the future, or would, emergency services have access? 'Cause I do know that we have, emergency landings and stuff at the airport. I wouldn't want to block anything like that.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect staging area for firemen, if they're wildland fires, that type of thing. And I know that I believe the fire department is still looking for a location too, and that might be a good spot in there.
They've been trying to see if they can't get access to putting a secondary station there.
On the other side of the tracks.
Just so, because I know they're gonna be doing a future, at least they've been talking about a railroad project. And they're talking about doing a double lines if that shipping container thing comes in. So I know it'd be convenient for the fire department to have a second station on that side of the tracks in case of an emergency. And I believe that they've tried to talk the airport into a small section for that.
Yeah.
Which, if that was the case, that little parking area would be.
That'd be an idea.
If the container thing goes through, there's gonna be 8 or more trains a day going through there.
Should be exciting.
So maybe if a Gary thing right there or something.
Hey, I'm-
Stop.
Oh, I was- It's a joke. So,
So anyways, I think with all this saying and all that, getting back to his thing with the parking lot and fencing it and all that, I think somebody's gotta look up the requirements or what, when that airport was given to the city, what the requirements were, if that parking lot has to stay there or can't be fenced in and all that. So somebody's gotta look at the legal portion of
Yeah.
it before you can even decide if you wanna do something.
Okay, the idea is to keep the unsheltered people out, right? So
Well, that and just keep, the airport safe, a safe area for,
security.
yeah.
Okay, I know on the other side, over where the sign is, you can drive in there.
Yeah.
How do they keep that from being,
On the other side, that's supposed to be closed.
but it's not?
No, and the reason why, long story of that one is when I've talked to Buddy, because he's the one who goes in and out of there, because that's where their the wastewater, where they irrigate out into the airstrip. As he says that he doesn't want to park out on the road and have to walk in and somebody run into his truck or whatever. But originally, I was actually on the grant and fencing project, when they first put the new fencing in. And I had told at the time, the city manager at the time, that you need to have a reset area so that people can get off the road. It didn't happen, so that's
So-
where we're at.
so this fence that you have up temporarily, blocking people from coming in, that's not really legal.
I didn't. put it up.
He didn't put it up,
City
it's
council
the
did.
city,
City
yeah,
Did
the
the city
city.
council put it up already?
Yeah, it's up and the city council has approved it to be up at least for a year, or at least for the fencing for a year.
At $110 a month.
Well, not exactly, I mean, they leased for a year, it doesn't, the panels, but it doesn't mean that
So it's fenced
it's
right
not a
now.
signed lease, we're just
So
doing
no one
it
can
like
use it.
month
It's
to
not
month
used-
type of
can't
thing.
use it freely.
Well, no, I guess you can get in, can you get into, or no, or where do you
Only
guys
time
park?
Get in is like, ones that use it the most.
Who opens it?
They do, they have a
It's
key.
it's a combination lock.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, and it's,
Okay.
on most, all airports, they always have the frequency, radio frequency.
okay.
Now, how would somebody get out if they like landed from somewhere else?
They've been just going out the other gate, but I had put a lock on there and I actually paid for, signage that says, tie down area. There's a big sign over there on the west side and there's tie downs for people who come in. And it says on there, what the combination is to get out.
So if you're in there, you can get
Yeah,
out.
most airports have like a gate, they call it, it's a free exit. Has like a lock set, but it's a simplex, like a push button. And then, so once you go out, you can get out without combination. And then when you come back in, you put in the frequency.
You get back in.
This is 1229. And you go on in.
You're getting a whole airfield education. I didn't know how that worked.
I know in the past we talked about doing events at the airport.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I belong to a flying club in Medford, at Medford Airport. We have over 100 members there. And we do fly outs. We go to like Sun River, we fly to Sisters, all over the place. And like a bunch of us will all take off and land and go have breakfast or lunch, whichever the case may be. We do poker runs where you go to different airports and get a card. And then you come back to one place after lunch. Yeah, land different airports and there's somebody there to get a card. And then when you come back to like a place where you can eat, then everybody pulls the cards out. Everybody has the best hand wins the pot.
Just like motorcycle clubs.
Exactly.
For the Jeep clubs, don't forget the Jeep.
Yeah, the Jeep club, I'm a cheaper too, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things in it, and it can bring in a lot of, new people in here. Like most people don't even know this town even exists, really, like over in Medford, they go. I say, yeah, I got a place in Hanger over in Lakeside. Lakeside, where's that?
California.
Yeah, sometimes I don't really want to let them on.
Yeah,
That way.
I'm with you on that.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe find out what the FAA regulations are, yeah?
And what are,
And maybe do some, have city council maybe do some research? Maybe on what if they
I think
can or
city
can't.
council's already given them, kind of did it already.
No, we just did it was just the
Executive
temporary.
order and
Yeah.
put the fence up.
And then depending on what they say, you can always come back and be like, this is what council told me, blah, blah, blah. And then, cause that point in time, it would be a land use thing, right?
what about, what would the feasibility of putting the fence like halfway, so you could pull in, there, but it would discourage
Yeah,
anybody
they-
from trying to camp out of the corner.
Do you really like go to the airport, and hang
Have a good time.
out?
I have to watch the airplanes.
A lot of people do that. They like to watch them. I do it myself, and I'm a pilot.
We see the RC planes from my house, I'll go to the airport.
I used to be one of them.
Yeah, did you like planes too? I'm more fascinated by the trains.
Yeah, they're all. See, that's just, we're a recreational paradise around here, and we all have lots of toys.
Yeah,
I think we need to have council and maybe figure out the logistics.
Yeah, just check on it.
Because even though they have a temporary fence up, it doesn't mean like that's even supposed to be there.
I don't know about, yeah, I don't, we had to do that in order to,
Clean it up. Yeah. And I get, and I don't want it to be gross out again. So, but I'm gonna say that maybe we need to have council look into it before we do. And before you invest money,
yeah.
get all
I
the.
mean, And there's always another option. They have, like, if we were to automate the gate, you can actually, because I do that, I do automation as well, with gates. You can actually have them to where they'll automatically open at, say, 8 o'clock in the morning, the gate will open, then at 8 o'clock at night, it'll close by itself.
Kind of like a storage unit would be open during certain hours and stuff like that. So that sounds like you have some good ideas.
But the fencing match the existing
It could
fencing.
be exactly, same company, yeah, same thing.
I prefer hot.
No,
and one of the things that the counselor mentioned when they were just thinking about getting the panels and
Right.
things, when is that they mentioned that it was also the ATV staging area.
Correct, but
Yeah.
I think they did that only because they needed a place to park to get to the route. And then they changed it where you can access the route from anywhere in town.
Yeah.
And so then I think it became an unnecessary need at that point.
Except if you didn't live here, I don't know, but that's one of the things they brought up.
And there was a-
You have
One
to-
in Utah, semi truck. For that, turned into. a-
Yeah. I had to go and yell at a guy I was dating because he kept parking his truck there. I'm like, you need to knock it off because I'm gonna get yelled at.
well, he needed a place to park it.
Yeah, and then he started taking it to my house. That was even better, let me tell you, but, no, I think we're gonna have to find a solution that works with the FAA regulations, city regulations. I think so. I think before you go gung ho, although I think they'll love the idea that you wanna pitch in, but I think we
Yeah.
do need to check on something. before we say Yes, no.
Yeah, I hate having to like lock everything up.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was just a
You
way.
can always put a culvert and put the gravel over the culvert, and then you can put it next to the fence. And get rid of that huge crazy ditch, and you can put gravel on the fence.
If the fence was back far enough to where you could park in this,
And I mean, there's enough room on the side of the road,
Yeah.
you just put a culvert in and cover the culvert up.
there's no culvert even right now.
It's just a ditch.
There's not even a ditch in front. Yeah, there's no ditch, just in the front where the runway comes in.
So there's some solutions. I mean, if you wanna keep the ditch, you can put pipe, cover it, whatever, but. There's solutions where if you needed to, you could potentially make. Next to fence parking. And then you could still visit the airport. There's no solution. There's always a loophole on things. Unfortunately, so I think that's, I think that's gonna be our current recommendation right now is to get all your i's dotted and t's crossed and. work
Give
with
some
the council and come back. Yeah, do some investigation, maybe have,
Is that something you guys want me to do? Check, contact
We-
the FAA?
well, you know the regulations better than us,
Good idea.
yeah, we can make Krista work on the city's end of thing, or the council work on the city's end of thing, maybe. I can look into it a little bit, but I don't think I'll find much. 'Cause I think last time I looked in the ordinances, the paragraph on the airport is like this big. So,
We read in a bunch of airport stuff.
yeah, so we can look into it and then, you could always come back maybe.
Yeah,
And check in, maybe it's a check-in kind of thing, like, hey, have you guys? Okay. I think so, I think that'd be fair, but I think maybe you doing the FAA part, I mean, cause. That's way over.
Or
your mark. I think that's a
they're
good
the ones
one.
that actually gave us the grant.
And we can add, I mean, if we get some stuff figured out, we can add that to our agenda to maybe work on looking into. Airport logistics, if we want to.
I'd love to be able to convince them.
I think half the town, including the business owners, would love to do an event there, but I think it keeps getting naysayed because of. Insurance reasons, because of the effluents, but I do know when we get the new sewer plant, we won't be spraying the effluents on the airport. Because it's gonna be a UV system,
Oh, really? So they won't be.
they won't be needing to spray the. Discharge on the airport.
And see, that's another thing too. A lot of people, when they fly in, they probably want to camp.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because I do believe,
So you don't want sprayers going on.
Yeah,
Was
but
it-
I think they only irrigate certain.
Yeah.
It's further down or something, I'm not sure.
UTV Takeover has been trying to get us to open it up for camping during that week for a couple of years now. But I think it's an insurance thing that why it keeps getting
It
denied.
could be.
Well, yeah, UTVs and.
But I think they're talking about just putting their
They're
campers
having
in tents
issues with
and,
sprinklers.
Yeah.
Breaking off, yeah.
Sprayers going off under.
yeah, but I think that's something that maybe we can come back to. Maybe. I think that's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Cause I think it might be also a thing that would help us with our unhoused things we need to look into as well, so. Let's go ahead and see about maybe adding that.
And I know we talked before about putting those.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
advance with.
we'll figure it out, we'll do some research, you do some research, maybe come and check in with us every once in a while, we'll figure something out, and in the meantime, maybe see what the council has to say about it. Since they're the ones that approved the temporary fence, maybe they'll work with you on a regular fence.
Did you not say it's for a year?
A year.
No, it's not really for a year. They just approved funding for a year. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna, I mean, something might come up where I mean,
So it's flexible.
it's flexible, yeah.
They just put a timeline, they needed a timeline, I believe.
They needed an amount.
All
so.
right, thank you,
Okay.
sir. You can either hang out for the boring part, or you may.
Go and head back.
Don't blame you. That's better. That's your time.
Information helped me out a lot.
Yeah, I think that is helpful. So we'll maybe see about adding that. As part of our unhoused.
Do you ever have problems with, the deer and the geese out there and planes landing? and-
Generally what we do when you come in on, because there's a note of actually, on our charts that there's wildlife. We just do a flyover first. You look, a lot of times you could, there's always geese. It seems like if you come through and just do a little flyover, they scatter, then they come back around and
If you want to learn some interesting airport history about our airport, you need to go talk to Marty, who lives at the end of Sarah Lane. And he will tell you about the cranberry bogs that used to be out there and all kinds of stuff, because it's from his family. I did some work for him for a couple years ago. The man has the best stories about the airport.
Well, that's good.
there's a lot of history.
There's a lot of history.
Well, that's. It was actually for service.
Yeah. There's a lot of history, including cranberry bogs being
I thought it used to
planted
be
on
the
there,
dairy.
things like that.
I talked to the lady that runs the water. She said her dad used to pay it.
There's some crazy history at that airport. Marty knows because it's been passed down from his family for quite a while, and they're like the caretakers of the area for a long time, and he's a good person to talk to. He's got the best story.
I really want to start documenting, filming, people telling stories. For eventual.
And there are also rock hunters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are they?
no, they've got me.
Well,
I
thank you,
think-
sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on, so I know that we were in a tizzy about location of the camping ordinance, so I talked to Sharon. And I decided, well, we wait to decide on location, maybe we can work on other aspects of it, like maybe narrow down a time frame.
I have a time for,
Okay,
just hold on.
and see, I was thinking about that too.
Because there are a lot of parks that actually operate on that schedule that changes throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's all the sunset.
So Doug could be arbitrarily thinking it should be a solid time.
And see, that's what came up, because we had that issue when the ATV thing, everybody in Lakeside was like, well, who's dusk? Who decides it's
Yeah, I
dusk?
think it's,
Well, the way they did, there was
Vampires.
no, it was 30 minutes after sunset, because sunset being,
You're arbitrary, you're talking about, but if you're a hunter, that's what hunting regulations go by. Half hour before sunset or half hour after sunset, a half hour before sunrise,
Right.
and it varies, so every week it's different. But
I think something more solid.
we're not talking about people who hunt.
They might hunt.
But again,
They may not have.
But again, I think they need to do something.
sunset, sunrise.
See, that's what I was thinking,
Sunset,
something more
sunset.
like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. or that way it could give them time if they needed to
Solid time. So that-
get settled or.
Dark in the winter though, that's.
I think it'd be simpler just to have designated time, but then like. I think it's get more complicated for like 20 minutes before 8 p.m., but only on a Wednesday, but not after Labor Day or something.
Or take a shower,
Yeah, I think we should try to keep this.
solid timing.
I like sunrise and sunset, just because, they do a lot of
You're
hard stuff.
smarter than them.
Well, I also have it on my phone.
Just, I mean, how many of these people have cell phones and they're gonna be like, oh, is it dawn yet? Oh, no.
They'll
it's
say on
not."
themselves.
Yeah, so I think it was time.
look how many people are on food stamps and are broke, and they buy $1,500 cell phones, and
That's right, Carl.
Hey
You
now.
should know.
I'm on
You should know
social
what time-
security,
you
I
should know
don't
what
have
time-
a cell phone.
you know, when food's ready.
Happen.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Well, and there's also programs now through the government where you get free phones. I think it came about, I think, during Obama's administration. First it started out
what do they
like,
call it, Obama?
yeah. Obama.
They did, but I think that they stopped that, didn't they?
No,
For a while.
my father-in-law's brother, because he's disabled, fixed income on social security or whatever, he still gets,
Well, I'm glad that,
yeah.
because I feel that they're very.
I think it's limited now than what it used to be for the need. I think you have to show a true, because they live in Gardner, and it's kind of, I think there's rules about it, but. So a lot of times they do have phones. So that's why I kind of thought maybe we should figure out what time would work best for city personnel or potentially, I guess, Bridgeport personnel, county personnel, whoever ends up
Enforcing it.
enforcing it. We need to make sure that there's actually gonna be somebody in that time frame that'll be coming through town. That's why I'm thinking like, maybe 8 AM, just maybe, that's maybe when city employees come in or whoever, I don't know, that's why I asked, maybe you guys need to brainstorm.
I would like to, give them. Because with children,
I say 10 and at least, it's kind of cruel if like the warming centers, you have to make people leave at 8.
and still going out,
Yeah, it's like, where are they supposed to?
Rain.
Yeah,
yeah, really supposed.
And since that's the question, so that's why I thought we would work on other aspects we can get narrowed down, so that way when the location comes, we can bam, know what we need to do, write the code, move on.
I'm very happy. Did you know what? I hate.
I don't know, do you know how expensive a bath toilet is to rent? About $250 a month,
Yeah, I was thinking more like. But
that's even more expensive.
Problem is, they'll use those in tight places.
Huh?
They'll lock themselves in and do hype, they'll shoot them up.
Up to drugs
They
or
give in my store all the time,
vandalize
they
them.
couldn't get them out of the door, because they were in there and they were in there using heroin things. And I heard
them are
public that,
I see.
even my business.
I think because they say that we don't have to provide any amenities if we don't want to. I think very essential amenities would be maybe possibly a trash facility or something.
Well, it's either poop in the bucket or poop in the yard,
Yeah.
particularly, I mean, that's just the cold facts, I think. Because when you get a group of unhoused, homeless, however you wanna call it, people, they're gonna do exactly, and then what's the structure that's gonna take it? How many guys are you gonna have volunteers for the month of who's gonna pick up human refuse? You know, it's your turn this week, your turn that week, you know.
we at one point, there were porta potties on the airport. I remember this, that Dennis would go unlock them in the morning. I can't remember
I think the airport people were
why.
the ones that had them in there though, and were paying usage, the city was paying for half.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's just, I do remember it happening for some reason, but
Remember, the airport hangars can't be hooked up. They're just have electricity only, no water, sewer in
I
there.
think he was just saying that he's the only one.
Yeah.
So, I told you, right?
Yeah, he's the only one, I think he's got one of the older ones there, and I think the one he built behind his house has power because it's attached to his house.
The RC club has power at their place.
Do they?
Yep, because they pay for PG&E or not PG&E.
that's what I call it.
Yeah,
Digital incubating.
Right.
because they had, when they put that third hangar in, they had to move their stuff and they had to have the electricity reinstalled.
Yeah.
Electricity is pretty important.
Well, you'll need stuff to keep moisture. But, okay, we're getting off topic, we're talking.
I always think
airplanes
so.
again. We're getting
And-
super distracted by airplanes.
Another thing that I thought with our research for the housing is that maybe think about where you don't want it. I know we've thought of where we do want it. I mean, that are a suggestion. But Florence in July or
Right.
August of last year, they did theirs, and that's how they started, was
Right.
where you can't have it near bus stops and you can't have it by parks and you couldn't have it by all of these.
And I think that's one of the things that you said last time that caught my attention. Because we have, we have the park,
Mhm.
so therefore, and we have several, for some reason, tons of bus stops. and places of congregation of children and seniors. And so that was the other thing I was thinking, other than time, is, the little things that we do for them.
Yeah,
If we don't want, something.
well, and you guys did the same thing when there was a marijuana ordinance
Correct.
passed in Lakeside, that's what they did. They have it, you can only have,
And it's important. So I do think that we need to be concerned with our senior and our children. So I think a bus stop or so far from, I get the library, or not libraries, the senior center does the food giveaway and stuff. So I don't think we can do that, but you can maybe do it like between these hours and at these hours, like you do the speed zone, like school speed zone, I think. Like between the hours of,
What are we doing with it?
like, between the hours of 8 AM and 3 PM, if the light flashes, you have to go 20 miles an hour. So we could also do something like that because they do the food giveaway here. So we can't be like, we can't park near the library. We go but maybe we could go like between the hours of like school hours, like between 6 AM and 8 AM. Kids go to school, you don't have to worry about it. And then from 3 PM to 5 PM yeah. That makes sense. Probably, I speak in,
Complicated, yeah.
yeah, I speak in.
You were talking about not setting up the parking place for the unsheltered.
Yeah, and
Or not even near school.
and we can say not your bus stops or where children congregate, but the problem with, like, here, where children congregate is also where the senior center is. They do the food giveaway and the clothing giveaway, and the library, which is free internet for those people. So I think like,
well, this is for just camping though, so
Yeah.
they're not, like, they can't camp here.
Yeah.
I
We
think
put up those signs.
We'd have to have supervision. Somebody, we'd have to have somebody there who.
do you volunteer as
basically-
tribute? No.
I'll take a couple shifts.
The biggest problem we're gonna face, no matter how we wanna look at it, no matter how our behind our logic self,
Yeah.
is it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Because it's gonna happen, you're gonna have
Angry.
waterfall, deluge. But they can deluge and be mad all they want. It's the law.
Mhm.
And that is what we need to do. We need to bring down fear and all this war mentality, get down to the basic logic. This is it. This is where your choices are. We're not gonna stick it in front of your children's bus stop. We're not gonna have them go here. We need, like you say, have a specific spot where they can be.
Between certain hours.
Right here under Bill, here on this here, they have it in enact an ordinance which permits a person between the hours of 7 PM and 7 AM.
Which is what I was thinking.
And failure to remove their items may be given the word is that to be removed and get rid of. Parent items of no apparent value or utility may be discarded immediately.
Yeah.
Items in an unsanitary condition may be discarded immediately. Any items that may help, hurt, harm will be gone. And if we do have to place, here it is. If we do take these, people take their items. We have to provide a place for 30 days to store
Just like a landlord.
their items.
Why would we want to take?
So what facilities are,
It's a landlord law.
yeah,
I know, but why would we want to? I mean, it's.
it's just the mandate of what the Oregon.
And they leave their TV because they plan on coming back tonight, but our thing says they can't leave anything behind, has to be a clean camp. So we take their TV and say, but you have to hold that item that they leave behind, just like you would for a landlord tenant law.
Mhm.
And it's 30 days. If they don't come back for that TV in 30 days, then you may dispose of it or do whatever you want with it. But you then have to have a space.
Well, see, that's the
Storage
interesting part there
units.
then. It's like, okay, I'll leave it, they'll take it at 8 o'clock in the next morning, I'll go there and pick it up again.
Yeah.
They protect it for me so I can use it again. And each day, so it can be abused that way too.
Well, if you ever wanted to, actually help some of the really truly homeless people that are really having a hard time, One of the things they need is a place to put their stuff and lock it out so they can go about maybe, pursuing improvements in their life.
Slowly working on a
Yeah.
place where they can temporarily park for respite or travel. If they, there's lots of people that, they travel by foot, by choice. I mean, there's lots of musicians nowadays that travel across America just for the heck of it on foot. So this would be something like that where they're like, they can pull over for the night, they can sleep, they can leave. It's not supposed to be a permanent solution, it's not supposed to be a camp, a permanent home.
It's like a rest area.
Yeah, and it might be to some people, because we do have some locals, but for the most part, it's supposed to be, they come in, they go. They move on to wherever they're gonna do for the day, they come back every single night, but the point is that they take their stuff with them, they go do whatever they need to do, then they can come back, but we're not trying to establish a camp or however you wanna put it, it's just,
Looks like rest areas.
it's a rest area for sleep and respite, and then they go.
And rest areas oftentimes will have somebody there supervised.
That's for like hundreds and hundreds of people that come through there every day and not 2 or 3 temporarily sheltered people that we might have coming through, most 5 to 6 maybe in the summer. I mean, cause I got a little angry at the last meeting because I got really frustrated and then I had to think about it. Then I had to calm myself down and just think of it as a miniature rest stop.
I always thought we should have a rest.
I know, but we don't need to go all crazy. We don't need to think about restrooms and trash facilities and power and utilities and supervisors and night guards. It's just
Well, restrooms and trash.
somebody comes by at a given time in the morning and says, hey, it's time to pack it up. If you're not out within 30 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
So here's what cities, that was what the state.
Yeah.
mandated. The city, and I'm gonna say, what cities must do. If your city chooses to remove a homeless person's established campsite, the city must provide at least 72-hour notice of its intent to remove the site. With notices being posted at entry point into the campsite.
And that's what the forestry department does before they do their cleanups. They actually serve an eviction notice for the people that are living in those homeless camps. I believe they actually are really nice. I think they give them a week's notice. And whatever is left when they come and do the cleanup is rounded up and hauled off. And they post it on trees and bushes. Cause I've been in on those cleanups before. And they do it just like you would a tenant. It's basically like an eviction process you have to do now with land over housing.
So basically our things, we go on and on and on, don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
This, I just felt like we just opened up a big can of worms. Discussion. Our thought was, and I'm saying we need to figure out where we can't do it, where we can allow it.
Correct.
And have 2 or 3 places where we propose
Correct.
they can do it. Obviously, the airport where Carl and I, if I might be so bold, we thought that was a good place. Did not think that.
I still think it's a good.
Yes, I do too. It's in and out. And
But we need to, but see, it still could be a place. I agree with you on that. But I do think that before we make it a place, he's willing to do due diligence on an FAA.
yeah, but I think he should kind of do it. Where was the due diligence then? Why is it taking all this now? So the problem is he's had this airport a lot longer than we've had this issue. And so he's basically already laid out his parameter on what is there and he's protected it. To have a fence upon a fence is basically intrusive. I personally think it's against the law. I think there is more issues to that. I think having a place where someone can come in, park, just for the night, just because they don't have no place else and they're gone. We try them wherever we, if it's not there somewhere,
Wherever.
and then look at it, provide them with, a sign. I know that they can drive, they can read. That
Well,
this is a privilege, this spot is a privilege for your use. In the event we find any debris, trash, anything that's contrary, we will close this facility down. So you need to make it, put it on their shoulder, their responsibility. So that Johnny, of the mom's son, Johnny is throwing beer bottles and stuff, he's only 16 years old, throwing it everywhere. His mom should say, hey, before we leave, clean up our camp so that we can go again. That would be the only way we can do this.
Yeah.
Make them be responsible for policing their own. Let them figure out if they want to be treated with respect, they treat us back with respect again. That there is no issue with that. Turn it on to them.
Well, and especially since right now, as it stands, we don't know who or when it will be enforced in any way.
That's what, again, we should tell them that we.
Enforce it
it's just-
yourself.
Right. Start taking care of that. Use it, and use it, don't abuse it. Just, misuse it, you lose it. I mean, it's just.
So your example is like, the mom telling the kids to clean up, but not everybody's mom's gonna be there.
No, not kids
And
nowadays.
I would hate to see it ruined because
Right, I mean, the main thing is you can put someone else,
Yeah.
you can put your husband or your wife, your boyfriend or your fellow, just together, join together to keep it.
I think the locations we decided as possible locations, I think those are good. And I think we should put it up to feedback. So I'm not too worried about location, I don't think right now. I think we just need to work out the rest of these.
Okay, well, bear in mind that anybody who comes through here doesn't want nothing.
I know.
Carl, would you not agree with me? They don't want any place around here. They would rather.
Oh, yeah,
sit down in a
Where
bus,
we put it.
go to Medford.
Look at it as creative. I see, when I talked to the forestry department last week, and I talked to Dennis from here in the city. And even Dennis thought maybe up by
Still recording.
the sewer treatment city maintenance shop. Because he says that there's enough land in there, even when they build the new sewer plant, that flat area by the city maintenance shop is not gonna be touched. The pull off next to it's not gonna be touched. Same thing with forestry, because the forestry basically said, you're not gonna get anything from us. I just lost 25 employees. We can't maintain what we have. Sorry, is basically the answer I got.
Okay, so this spot where you go, that was on Monday when y'all went. So this spot that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Is it easy access? Yeah. Does everybody see it from any place?
so the problem is
Is there gonna be signage and then?
there's construction going on in the other town.
They're not across the street from the maintenance shop. They're not gonna be doing any building there. There's already pull off right next to the city maintenance shop. And Dennis thinks that's a good spot too.
You're talking about where that sand trap is?
We're talking about
No,
staff.
across
There's no room there.
from-
There's
It's on
just a
the
shoulder.
road. Dennis says the sand trap, and I said, the only problem with that is you get a big rig in there, it's not gonna get out, you're gonna have to
Across
log
from
it.
it, there's just a shoulder. There's no pull off. There's a shoulder.
And so that's not gonna work. And then Dennis suggested down at the current sewer plant in the floodplain, because there's, I guess we own property on Second Street. And I said, I don't think that would work because it floods half the year.
And it's next to a neighbor.
And so then
Madam
Dennis,
Chair,
yes,
can we refer to people as staff?
staff,
Thank
sorry.
you.
We only have one staff.
Can't have names. Thanks.
Staff. So I kind of picked their brains, I picked forestry's brains, and I still don't have a good conclusion. So I'm
So
just-
what's happening with the survey that we're going to do?
I put that up to Krista to compile for us.
We just decided that a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
A couple days.
Yeah. Well, I have it on. There's two people that do all the things. Yeah.
I still would like to do the survey or.
Yep,
some kind of
we'll
polling
do it.
from them. I don't know how we can make that choice, but I think we could, that's why we can work on time, we can work on amenities, we can work on whatever. I think time is a major part because wasn't it location, time and
Time, place and manner.
Sunrise to sunset.
Okay.
I think it needs to set time. I like that. The 7 PM to 7 AM, that's the only thing that kept popping in my head. In the summer, daylight's gonna be up
Yeah,
for around 7 AM, it's gonna be dark well after summer.
No, in summer, daylight, it starts.
Right.
Right. 6, and, sunsets at almost.
And that would also be way under noise ordinance time, which is 10 PM to 7 AM. So I mean, that way they can still do whatever they need to do for a couple hours before the noise ordinance kicks in.
Sharon. Thing for
Michelle.
I didn't mean to yell at her the first time, so she scared me. So,
But one thing that, and when I talk about somebody there supervisor, it's like a camp host.
yeah, but we can't do a camp post. We don't have staff for a camp post. We don't have money for anything like that. We don't have money in the city's budget for any kind of amenity, full-time staff, anything really other than people just driving by and checking on them themselves. Or like Randy suggested, a self-policing system.
Camp hosts, they're usually somebody who has an RV, and they just apply.
But they also get amenities though. Camp hosts get hooked up to power your water, the internet for a summer. Or we're proposing is not gonna have any of that unless it's near somebody's house and they would like to volunteer their internet and power to those people.
Yeah, because we're not talking about a campground.
It's not a campground, it's just a respite pullover area, no different than pulling off the side road and taking a nap when you're traveling. So there's not gonna be amenities, there's not gonna be a fund for any amenities. There's not gonna be a budget for any kind of staff unless we get a volunteer code enforcement or something like that to check in on it. It's gonna be basically pull off area, side of the road next to sidewalk or tree or something. So we need to keep it simple, pick a time, don't need to worry about amenities. We can say it can't be near a bus stop. We can't say we don't want it within 300 feet of business, just whatever. But other than that, we can't say anything else. I mean, there's nothing we can do.
Has to be working.
We are not.
Square mile, we have such a small area.
Exactly. And we're not talking about large population. I mean, I'm talking like, we probably will have most 3, 4, maybe.
Sort of school.
It's mostly, we already know who's gonna be mostly the people who are gonna be using it. Because they're already here full-time anyways.
And then you're going to deal with, again, no matter, again, here it is,
No matter what they're.
no one says that they're all going to do what they're gonna do. You're going to have continually having the unsheltered and areas that we all don't wish to have.
Correct. You can only say, hey, this is not where we have designated for you. This is where we have designated for you.
And they're going to be there permanently.
So there's, again,
It doesn't.
this is,
matter.
so if this is just to patronize the state of Oregon, that we are doing every way we can to attempt to follow what you mandate with this law. And,
We're
that
not mandated on that law.
we will be,
Maybe.
maybe. It's just that I want to think forward instead of getting caught with nothing.
And how Krista and Sharon explained it to me was, we have to get something up because the time comes, if we don't have that, some staff. If we don't have it, then we're gonna be in trouble, and so starting to get it done now, so when the time comes, we would say, hey, we've already done it, and
And the council has given you this chore.
yes, you can
Yeah.
all thank them for telling us it's our job.
Right,
They
and
didn't read the regulation and did it.
No.
so we have, we're working on time, then the place, and what is the definition of manner? Is there any definition?
Yeah, I'm curious about manner too. Is that like how you can't be so close to this stop sign or whatever? Is that manner?
No, it's like rest. What is respite, rest?
So like no barbecues or family reunions, but they can like sleep for the night.
You can take refuge, you can, in which you can rest so that people aren't getting in trouble for having the need to rest, the need to stop and have a bite to eat, to rest their bodies, to all of those bodily function things.
Well, it's one thing, knowing where they are, having a place set up means where you know where they are.
We can't worry about that though. That's over what we've been short to do. That's up to somebody else to wrangle them.
Or you have a place that's comfortable for them to want to be, then the less they're gonna be invading people's. time.
Exactly. So we should plant a ton of cactuses and big rocks. Some tank traps stuck in the ground. No, no
We're not
tank
a
traps.
Texas fire.
I stole mine from Utah, the national parks.
Well, even the refuge as far as, there's sometimes when people just break down. There was times when people in the city were getting mad at somebody, and like harassing people that were just broke down.
Right.
And so we need to take that kind of into consideration, that we kind of want to be
And I think that's a different circumstance,
Friendly.
really. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean, it is different, but it's still, it was hard. If somebody came in here and to City Hall and said, I have to stay here for the night, where can I go that I'm not gonna be
Correct.
harassed? And so where would we want that person to be able to go?
And if the truck or vehicle can't move, they are where they're at.
Correct.
Until it can
Mhm.
fix.
Until they can get. So I think there's special circumstances that we have to take in consideration as well. Unless you just want me to winch everybody to our parking area, which I
I
like.
think it's arguing about where we're gonna put them. I think your idea of saying where we won't let them.
Correct.
And then say, okay, these are the places you can't be, go anyplace else you want.
Right, so that's one of the things I wanted to work on. So can we all shoot out some ideas maybe? Like, I don't know how.
Well, what other ideas besides that?
Well, I think maybe not directly in the business district.
Well, yeah, you would say that's not a place you want them,
Right, so
and I think we already outlined where we don't want them.
you have to set, wouldn't you have to set like a certain zone, so maybe like one block from here or 200 feet or.
Yeah, so it's 300 feet, you can't be, well, just as an example, as that marijuana ordinance, we had to set areas, they can't be by the bus stops, they can only be 1,000 feet apart, they can only, there can only be 2 of them in the city, different things like that. So what we would do for the area here would be, you don't want them within you don't want camping within 300 feet of a bus stop. You don't want from a park, the circumference of the park, 300 feet from camping within 300 feet of either parks, because
And that's why I brought up, it's kind of hard for this one to say that we're near the park, because the senior center is next to the park and they give out free food and clothing, and so you can't, that's not.
well, you would draw, and
Yeah.
what they did is they had a big map and they drew
Like
the,
the route.
yeah, and this is where daycares and
Gotcha.
things.
Just mark them on the map and so that they know.
And that's kind of why I gave you the map, and so you can probably think about where the areas are.
Here, I was just dwelling on the black spots.
But I was hoping that would help, so that we can just see.
That's how you explained it. So, okay, we can all agree that we don't want them directly in the business district, so what do we want to say, within a block of the business district? That'd be from what, 7th Street down and 9th Street down?
We also don't want around
And seeing,
But
it's
we're all-
about,
all Towns and neighborhood.
yeah, and it's about camping, not living.
Correct. And that's why I keep bringing up, it's supposed to be temporary shelter respite area and not a permanent solution, not a camp, not a shelter, just a temporary spot. You can park for the night, leave during the day, come back. You can't be there before this time. You can stay, you have to leave after this time, take all your belongings with you, don't leave anything behind, or we're gonna dispose of it, kind of situation.
Yeah, but when we do run them out, they're gonna be desperately looking for a place to go.
That's
eat.
okay, they can go do whatever they need to during the day, and then they can come back. If they don't move, I think Sharon mentioned they take chalk, mark tires to make sure the cars are moving.
We can do that, because it doesn't
And we're
damage
not
them.
talking like moving 2 feet, like they really have to physically move and come back.
They have to move it, at least 600 feet, and then they can, and that one, they have in their ordinance that it's 72 hours, and then they have to move,
Yeah, we don't.
but,
We can't do 72 hours, we've got it overnight.
Yeah, we're gonna do
right,
that.
I'm just saying that
Just
that's
give
what,
that an example.
that's what they say, they do. And actually, people, they, abide by that, the campers.
Our community is so small and. with
We don't
nobody to
have-
Police it, it's gonna have to just be a
Right,
overnight, leave during the day. You can come back multiple nights in a row, but you have to physically leave
Yeah,
during the
yeah.
day.
Well, let's take the map and mark the areas that we think that they can go to,
Nowhere.
huh?
I don't
Well,
think,
I thought there was that map that we were looking at earlier and it had these gray spots where we thought we could think they could go to.
but that's all forestry, it turns out, because that shows us
And
that.
forestry has nothing, ones that.
But we can take that map and like the area that you're talking about up by the maintenance shop on the side of the road, you can highlight that area, you can highlight
And mark all the places.
all the places that you can put something, and then the rest of it is illegal.
That's a good point. That's a good
No, I
idea.
totally agree with that.
Where you can give them multiple choices and be like, hey, if tonight this spot is full, you have 3 other places to choose from. I think that's kind of a good
So,
idea.
The only, really the sad part of all this is, Madam Chairman, is the fact
I don't want that.
that our policies, zoning, ordinances are very, has no teeth to them.
No.
We have no enforcement.
Correct.
So the area is are we building these decisions on sand or solid foundational?
We make this plan and we give it to the council. Okay, the council takes it and they're not supposed to approve it unless they can enforce it.
Correct.
I like that, Carl.
And that's what the book says from the state
Yep.
too. Don't make regulations if you can't enforce.
Correct.
So we take, this is what would be ideal, this is what we like to see. Then it's up to the council to say, yes, and this is how we're going to enforce it.
Because in an ideal world, Lakeside is so freaking small, it can't support this type of population anyways, but unfortunately, we're being handed this type of population, and now we have to come up with a solution that we don't really have space or any way to do anything with.
Too bad we don't have a survey. Or
Sort of a survey, man, I'm trying here.
I think we should let Sarah kind of get,
We'll go knock on doors, which I.
well, again, what I'm trying to say there is,
have you guys read the ordinance 20-292?
Yeah, it's all. It's.
And that's what they went through when they did that, and then, so they only made it for the commercial district. That's just what, and that was for the camping, and that was, they just picked an area and made it like that.
Is their commercial district is 5, 6, 7 times bigger than our 2-block radius. And our entire community is one giant residential zone where other places actually have boroughs and neighborhoods.
Yeah, well, how about 9th Street right there?
Yeah, but
it's bordering, and it doesn't, it could be allowed, but it's bordering commercial. It's it's residential on this side, but it's commercial on that side.
But I wouldn't include this area down here because too close to this building, close to.
And it's too close to the
Park and,
yeah,
and all that.
Right.
So
so that wouldn't work. Yeah,
this wouldn't be highlighted.
right,
Not
so
this area, it would be
that's,
highlighted.
so that's how we can do it.
I like Carl's idea where we designate a few spots. Cause I think we all like the spots we came up with.
Mhm.
We designate a few spots. And we mark those and be like, this is where, these are the general areas that it can be.
Yeah,
We
Mhm.
absolutely don't want it here. Good luck.
So we could actually say this, we have. If they wanna camp overnight, we have 5 spots, period.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If there's a 6th person, he goes down the road.
well,
There's only
more than
5
one.
people,
there could be-
whatever.
But, and some
we
locations
limit-
fit more than one car though too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we, just as an
Yeah.
example. Let's don't say we have 25 spots.
Yeah, no,
I don't think we're gonna ever have 25 spots
I don't-
needed.
No,
I
but
don't think so.
No, but you know, it's
But,
been weird.
but what we need to know what we know, what we do know now.
Correct.
Statistically, and what's been going on, that's the only thing can't go on speculative of what if and all this. But at this moment, if we limited to our parking area that we had designated, this is how many spots. It doesn't say anywhere in the ordinances, thou shalt have only 25 spots.
Right,
If
yeah.
not, you have gone against the law of the
yeah,
no, we could say, we welcome unhoused or the unhoused or unsheltered
yeah.
these locations, that's it,
If there's no
If we
room,
don't-
sorry.
go down the road.
Yeah, because you could do like, okay, just as an example, 15th Street to or like the first block of 15th to, or 15th Street from the corner, 500 feet, whatever, like that.
Only between 8
Or
PM
they
and
don't
8
have-
AM.
Or if
Yeah.
somebody comes in, you hand them the map.
Mhm.
You say, these here are the places you go.
And if they don't want to go those places, you hook them up to Sarah's mention, she'll yank them.
Well, at that point, we can then you can post them if they're not in, I mean, they can be posted, they can be posted by the staff.
Is there a way where we can put up signage? No parking in this whole entire block, but between 7 PM and 7 AM is okay in this, like,
I
So-
mean, we probably don't have those, probably be expensive, we have a lot of,
In my
True.
life, I have been around some very squirrely people, and they have blinders.
Yeah.
They know that, but they don't care. And that is the mentality of those who are doing against the law already and doing it illegal. They're not gonna bother reading, they're not gonna bother any kind of issues or thoughts that have. They're gonna do exactly what they're gonna do at the cost of the citizens in the city that they go in. Those are the ones that we need to go after, and the ones that we have designated, again, when you have a spot, this is where you're at. If you're over here where you're not at, you have consequences. We can write you up because you did not. That's the
Right.
kind of, in other words, so there has to be accountability, and there has to be some sort of area that we can say, well, you're not here because you're not supposed to be there. We can fine you, we can do whatever we can do, so that there is some liability that they have,
but
they,
that's not on us though, that's
Well,
up
no.
to,
but see, that's again, our
Yeah.
ordinances of enforcement.
right,
But if we can just hear the commission and present them with a area, 5 spots,
time,
Mhm.
time from 8 to 8,
and what the definition of what they're allowed to do there.
and
and
manner,
the
yeah.
definition of what they're allowed to do there.
And be like, now it's your problem, have fun.
That's right.
I'm okay with that.
I liked your suggestion, Sarah, with
My way.
on your manner, no, your manner.
I think.
It's for tent, I mean, because you have to be allowed if it's tent camping. I guess even if you sleep on the, if you even sleep on the sidewalk or
I think
whatever.
we put a definition on there of what they're allowed to do in that space. They can't be there changing the oil on their car or dropping motor swaps, but they need to pull over.
There's a road.
Well, that's a different.
Yeah,
scenario
that's a different
altogether,
thing,
I
yeah.
think. And I think that's a limited scenario, but I think we need to put a definition in there so they know exactly what it's for. So that way people in town also know it's not a camp, it's a temporary sleep situation, take a nap situation, rest situation, whatever.
So you're not gonna be harassed.
Correct.
Right.
And that during the day, they're supposed to leave. And it's only for these hours, which are the hours that normal people would be sleeping.
Wanna make sure
Right.
people there to take.
Oh, I'm sure if it will come, if one person probably doesn't feel comfortable, we will hear about it. I guarantee it. But I mean, if I need to, I will personally. It's gonna be until we get an enforcer.
Thank you.
I'm okay with it. I'm a little girl with a big truck. Nothing scares me too much.
Okay. So we'll
Be
work
okay.
on the survey.
I think we.
And then I
As
think
far
so
as-
too.
Yeah, as far as survey is the fact that my survey wasn't in any thought other than taking some way to see how many exactly homeless we get.
And I was thinking a community survey would be a way of maybe narrowing down 5 or 4 locations, maybe into 3 or 2 locations. We can take the top, whatever. And I know we'd get lots of negative
Mhm.
things, but the good criticism ones would be the ones that we take in consideration, not the I hate you planning. Okay.
There may be some good ideas.
I
That
still think
come-
we should hear what the committee has to say, it's their community. But if we have something to present to them, it's like, this is our idea. What do you guys think? Maybe they can narrow down the locations, maybe we can go from 5 locations to 3 locations. And you can keep your airport as one of the designated locations, maybe, if people think it's a good idea. And maybe eliminate Jacobson or North Lake or my maintenance shop idea, I mean,
If we take the public comments
yeah.
just as public comment, then it's okay. But if the commissioners are swayed due to issues that may be beneficial so that we don't get our tires splashed or whatever, I mean, I think,
Well,
That's
there's
the
a
way
good
it is.
chance that nobody even shows up.
right.
Yeah. But, and, you
But
know,
if this information is approved in various ways, you're gonna get the citizens who are concerned that they justify, as you're saying, have a justification to come in and say their point, say their person. But I want them not only to come in and have a complaint, but I want hard solutions.
and that would
Helpful.
be the commission
Yes, but they
to
also should,
reinforce that.
and then the people who are coming in for comments.
Yeah.
I would love to hear solutions.
Right,
I know that they are very much aware of what's going on in our city. And I think they have viable solutions.
Yeah.
Other than just
creative solution.
a lot of complaints.
They'll have lots of that too, but
Right.
it's up to us to control how the meetings go. And if we allow people to scream and yell, or if we keep it a controlled, creative environment.
So we just lay the information out here. Then we let the city council, as
Correct.
Councilman Carl did, I mean Commissioner Carl did, about the idea of making everything here and presenting it to the city council. And let the city council use their yes and no.
Yeah.
That's where the whole thing ends up anyway. We bring the suggestions, we present situations, or we present it for the council to consider, and then the council can make the decision.
And we could also do the same thing with our locations, like, these are the 4 locations or 3 or whatever, we've narrowed it down to. Now it's up to you to designate that zone. Isn't that part of what we've been asked to do?
Yeah, and you could use it as the criteria. You could say, and these are the ones that we've chosen
I like that.
with our criteria being they cannot be within 300 feet of a bus stop. They
And
cannot
make the
be,
council do the dirty work.
and that, so you give them, yeah, you give them your reason
that.
of how you came about.
Well,
Like that?
the city council is an elected by the citizens. We as the commission are actually appointed. So our
We're PR.
influence is based on what we are getting by the law of what a commissioner has obligations to do and what it can do. It is up to us to present our findings as directed by the council. And then the council will then make
I like it.
their decisions.
Okay, what's the next step? Let's get going.
Okay,
Next meeting,
no, well, have we picked a time? Did we pick one thing tonight? How about a time?
like what?
Time frame for the.
You got a map that we can power code? No?
But we can pick a time without.
And I think a lot of these things that, well, I thought we picked a time,
I think.
7 to 7 or,
But Charlene had,
Sunrise to
we
sunset.
need to have a motion,
Because it's
right?
Because it
Yeah,
changes
yeah.
throughout the year,
So we
dramatic.
have to, we have to make a
Is
motion.
this a workshop where we have a motion?
Mhm.
We can't have a motion.
not in a workshop.
So then we're just brainstorming. Okay, so we'll need like a regular meeting to make these calls.
Okay, well, you guys, we can talk about it on the, 3rd.
I think we have a plan.
Cause we have that hearing on the 3rd.
I think we have a plan. I think we have an idea.
Okay,
I like it. Let's put this on an agenda.
let's get that survey going too.
Yeah,
And you know what? And I really think that we could have somebody on site supervise.
I volunteer Charlene as tribute.
No, because you've got a bunch of people who are homeless. I'm sure you've got some that are RVs looking for a place that would love to be contracted to be the babysitter. If they could just live there.
If you have 4 different places, you're gonna have 4 different people?
Yep.
You
4
gonna-
people.
You gonna pay for it?
No, they didn't pay them. They need a place to live. They want.
They're not, there's no water, there's no lives, it's a.
We are all getting on topic, y'all. Let's worry about this in the other meeting, and I think we have a good plan, and we will hash it out, and we will get a thing. to count. Yeah.
Take more than.
So I also threw on here, because we were talking about wanting to review conditional use permits, it's on here. but
No, and we were gonna, we'll do that one too, cause
He has.
we have not had a few.
He's got options. He has options.
Yeah,
He has. He can appeal, he can reapply in 6 months, he has options. It's not the end of the line.
You know,
He just has to do it right.
Was
Yeah.
it removed now?
No, nothing has been moved.
Can you do business there?
And I don't think while he can, while he's in the appeal process, so, but no, but I'm not gonna go down there until the move is first. Because, yeah, there's a lot of cars.
and they all look like.
That's okay, that's up to, council, correct?
That's, yeah.
Okay, so, we don't need to worry about that because we don't have anything to look at. So, chair and commission comments, anybody would like to add anything?
No,
Anybody have
I
any
mean-
comments?
Do we have an opening?
We don't know yet. But we always have an opening, correct? Yep. So regardless if we have 1 or 2, we don't know yet, but we have an opening. Look, how we have a big map.
Presentation to the council.
Can we color on that map? Yay, we can color on that map.
Do something as a presentation to the council and say, we chosen these places
Now,
and not these because this is what we.
and we let them figure it out.
Put that on a cardboard vacuum.
You know, like, we need, what we need more time to do is to take a look at who owns some of the properties that we could possibly consider. And see if,
It has to be public property,
no,
which is a road, a pull-off, a shoulder, a airport, a city hall parking area, a sewer plant. there's not a lot public on.
You know, it's not-
Okay, any comments, anything other than Sharon, we're still missing minutes all the way back to September?
Oh, sure. We've got new things, everybody's missing minutes. Darren, do you know what, I sat down, I was doing minutes at 4 o'clock this morning, and I got one set done.
It's brutal, that's.
Well, no, because it was just, because we're short staffed,
Yeah,
so, anyway.
short staff and overloaded, yeah.
I'll be in comment.
Randy, do you have a comment? Sarah does not have a comment. I don't know if Sharon wants to say anything. Okay,
No.
so what time is it? 7:25. The planning commission meeting is adjourned.